Hello, friends, and welcome into Bengals Breakdown by Chat Sports. I'm Tom Downey. Here's what's coming up on today's show. We'll talk about Dalvin Cook and the Bengals, as the Bengals are among the betting favorites to land Cook, which I found quite interesting. Joe Mixon has commented on his future, and we have the latest on the much-anticipated Joe Burrow contract extension. But first, folks, if you want even more Bengals videos, help us out. Share this one. There is no better way for us to grow faster, to be able to do more videos, ideally every single day, here on the Bengals than with your help by sharing. So it's Twitter, Facebook, texting it to a buddy, whatever. Help us out and share today's video right now. We begin with the latest on Dalvin Cook, who for now is still a member of the Vikings organization. The Vikings, though, have leaked it basically that they will release Dalvin Cook on Friday unless they are able to find a trade partner. They've been trying for a while. They were allegedly close to a deal with the Miami Dolphins. That fell apart. And now the Bengals, because we don't think Dalvin Cook will end up being traded, and they're not going to trade for him, by the way. The Cincinnati Bengals will not. But if and when he's cut on Friday, the Bengals are now actually among the betting favorites in terms of landing Dalvin Cook as his next team. Here are the odds from Bet Online. The Dolphins, even money, heavy, massive favorites. That's implied probability is about 50%. The Jets, plus 250. The Bills, plus 500. Three teams that have been heavily linked to Mr. Cook. They have his brother James, Buffalo does. The Bengals and Cowboys, then, are both plus 1,000, which I find quite interesting. Dalvin Cook is not the same player he was in his prime. The 5.1 yards per carry guy, you ain't getting that. There has been clear signs of regression. Some of the advanced numbers do not favor Dalvin Cook in terms of leaving some meat on the bone, not maximizing those runs. But hey, even if the numbers dip again, if let's say it's 4.2 yards per carry, better than what Joe Mixon was last year statistically. And I think if you would pair Mixon and Dalvin Cook together, wouldn't you feel like you have the best running back duo in the NFL, or at least close to it in that conversation? Now, the issue is, and why a trade has not happened at all and will not happen specifically for the Bengals, is the money. The new team, if they were to trade for Dalvin Cook, would owe almost $11 million. And nobody wants to pay Dalvin Cook that. And he probably doesn't want to take that much of a pay cut. He got shoulder surgery in the offseason to help guarantee $2 million. That might be offset money. We'll find out at some point. But the Bengals have been linked to Mixon. We're going to spend some more to Cook. We'll spend some more time on this because of the presence of Joe Mixon. Now, that all plays into it here. But first, today's pinned comment. Would you sign Dalvin Cook if you were the Bengals? Y for yes, N for no. It's going to be the pinned comment, like I mentioned. So if an ad break comes here on YouTube, head down there. Type in your Y for yes or your N for no. My issue here is, can you have both Dalvin Cook and Joe Mixon? Because unless Joe Mixon gets cut or takes a pay cut, assuming Dalvin Cook gets $5 million 1 year, somewhere in that range, I don't want to invest, what is it, 17 million, 18 million? Like, you've already got a pretty expensive running back room cap hit-wise as it is. I don't want to increase that by also paying Dalvin Cook big money, a declining player, and then not have him set up in the best of shape because he's not getting as many touches. Mixon's getting some too. And, oh, by the way, I do have more important guys to end up paying. I have to figure out what I'm going to do with T. Higgins and Logan Wilson and maybe DJ Reader and Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. So I don't want to overinvest in the running back room. Now, if Mixon takes less, if there's a release, which, again, I don't think happens, we'll break down where things sit with Mixon here more in depth in a little bit, then I have some interest. But if Mixon's at his current number, I don't see room for Dalvin Cook. Now, if you guys want all, and that's a rough estimation, but all of them, for the Bengals news and rumors and everything else in between, you've come to the right spot. Hit that sub button right now, youtube.com/BengalsTV. Hit it for more free Bengals videos each and every single day right here on the channel. Don't miss out. Hit that sub button right now. Tied directly into the whole Dalvin Cook conversation is the Joe Mixon conversation and his future. He spoke about it recently, what his plans are, how he feels about the Bengals organization. As we've discussed many a time here on the channel, there have been rumors, whispers, even outright reports of a pay cut or a release, but everything does point towards Mixon staying in Cincinnati, at least for this upcoming year. Earlier, we showed you the last 4 years of Dalvin Cook. Here are the last 4 seasons of Joe Mixon. His numbers aren't as good. Now, offensive line play is a critical factor in how successful a running back is because that's how football works. And I think you might be able to argue that, hey, maybe it was a better offensive line in Minnesota. But let's pretend that the money would be equal with a potential Mixon pay cut or release and signing Joe Mixon. Who would you rather have on this Bengals roster? DC for Dalvin Cook, JM for Joe Mixon. If you could only pick one, who would it be? Sound off in the comment section. Look, Cook was more efficient last year, although the decline has been a bit more noticeable in terms of the yards per carry. I also don't think it's that much of a difference. Like, if you're power ranking the backs in the NFL, they're probably separated by what? 3, maybe 4 spots? So does that border too much on change for the sake of change and introducing the risk of, hey, maybe Dalvin Cook is just washed up. Maybe he's cooked. And maybe he doesn't fit as well in Cincinnati. I don't think there's a big enough gap to justify moving on from Mixon to sign Dalvin Cook. That's more of a Madden style upgrade. You get those, hey, you get 3 extra attribute points, whatever. I'm not sure it's worth it for this Bengals organization. Meanwhile, here's what Mixon had to say. Asked about his future, etc., the whispers of a release, trade, whatever. You hear a lot of noise, but when you don't pay attention, you don't hear it, none of it affects you. I don't really get that quote. It seems a little bit contradictory, but whatever. What matters most is Mike Brown. He always comes up to me at practice, and he's always happy to see me, and that is the best feeling. It doesn't get better than that. He's the owner. He makes the decisions, and he embraced me since day one, and I love Mike, and I know Mike loves me too. That's a great thing to have. I feel like our front office, everybody is great to me and has backed me 100%, and it's a great feeling to have the love and support I get from them continuously. Words really don't explain how much that means to me. That's a man who loves Cincinnati, plain and simple. Now, if you want to bet on the NBA Finals, you can bet on Game 4, bet on the NBA Finals MVP. It's free money. Put it all on Nikola Jokic. Unless the Nuggets collapse, he's going to win, as much as I love the way Jamal Murray's been playing. Use our sportsbook partner, BetUS, to do just that. Chatsports.com/bet and promo code CHAT125 gets you a 125% deposit bonus when you put down at least $100. I had the Nuggets to cover in Game 3. That one was a pretty easy cover. I'm feeling gentleman's sweep for Denver. He'd already won their game. I got them winning Game 4, Denver tonight. -3.5. We'll be closer. Might just go money line on that one. You can fade me or follow my bets. Chatsports.com/bet. Promo code CHAT125. We will wrap up once again with the latest on Joe Burrow. NFL Network reports there is no deal imminent for Burrow and the Bengals at this time. That's not a panicky thing, by the way. Both sides pretty clearly want to get a deal done. And the expectation is it will still be done before the regular season. And I would also anticipate this contract being a massive one, being a likely record-breaking type of deal, which we'll get into here more in depth. But first, what Ian Rappaport of NFL Network said about the Joe Burrow contract talk. Burrow's going to be highly, highly paid, perhaps even the highest paid quarterback in football. We'll see how this plays out. But it does not sound like anything is imminent. It does sound like the wait will continue. Burrow and Justin Herbert are the final big quarterbacks due for new deals this offseason. Now, maybe Dak Prescott gets an extension. He's coming up on this year and then one more year left on his deal, so they'd like to be a bit more proactive. I think Dallas would be. But that Burrow deal, look, it's going to be near the top of it. How can it not be? He's young. He's a franchise quarterback. He's done more than most of the guys in recent years since he entered the NFL on that list. If I can get him 10 years, $60 million, I'd do it. Probably can't. Maybe it's only 4 years, $53. That's still worth it because you'll be able to backload structure it properly. Now, who here wants the Joe Burrow deal to be done? I've yet to meet any Bengals fan who doesn't want to pay Joe Burrow because he's awesome, or at least doesn't love Joe Burrow being the Bengals quarterback. If that's you, if you want the deal done, type in me in the comment section. Now, I do think patience is still needed, unfortunately. Burrow will get paid. He will get a massive, likely record-breaking contract extension. It'll all be worth it. I would like to get the deal done before Justin Herbert. That should be the Bengals' goal, because whatever Burrow gets, in theory, Herbert will get like $500,000 more per year. So just beat the punch, save yourself a little bit of money, would end up being a nice thing for Cincinnati. That is it for today's show. If you have not already, please subscribe, youtube.com/BengalsTV.